What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the very first video of 2026. If you're new here, my name is Mike and I am the creator of this channel. I actually created a video a couple years back explaining my whole setup here, but since then I've developed the setup a little bit, so if you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend you to check it out. For those who are here maybe returning, you will discover some new updates and I would like to share the majority of them with you, and I will cover some things I did repeat in that first video. As you might see, some of those have remained. And if you are a beginner, you just maybe received some records or a record player over the holidays, or maybe you are a seasoned record collector, you might find a few bits of inspiration. A quick introduction about the setup itself. I tried to keep it quite minimal. I try to buy used things as much as possible. And to be honest, Ikea has been my go-to the majority of the time. And so that's a quick snapshot of what is behind me. So the first thing I want to highlight is the shelving setup. Now this is a discontinued, I believe it's part of the PS 2014 series. I actually discovered these shelves from Eric Wang, a very well-known content creator who specializes in interior design. So the day that I discovered these shelves, I went on eBay Kleinanzeigen, a marketplace here in Germany, and the only shelves that were available at the time were here in Düsseldorf. And so the same day I discovered the shelves, I had them in my hands, and so at the time we collected about 6 or 8 for just under 200 euros. So they're not that cheap. And if you are lucky, you might find them lying around used. But what's great about them is that you can place them however you'd like. It's the perfect size to store records. Some sides of the shelves are open, as you see here, and some of them are closed as well. So you can customize them however you want. You can stack them. You can even flip them around so that they're more vertical. And I would say they hold approximately, 50 to 60 records in one section. And if you stack 2 of them this way, I think they're the perfect height to store your record player. Now, before I talk about the turntable I got, I want to direct your attention to these Ikea Eket shelves. I found a couple of them on Kleinanzeigen as well. What I did here was actually screw the 2 together, and then I put wheels at the bottom so that depending on if we're hosting people or not, or if we need more space, I can just move this around. And so the past couple of years, my collection did grow, and so I just needed a bit more space to store some records. And so I got here my international collection, some gospel, some Christmas music as well. So if you're looking for a very basic setup, if you just started out, I would highly recommend Eket. I think it's a great size to store records. And on top here, I've got a nice coffee table look from John Lennon, which I've also picked up here in Düsseldorf on sale. Yeah, so a little hack there. If you want to just have something that's a bit more flexible, I highly recommend putting some wheels on your shelves so you can kind of use them as well as like a playlist if you are hosting or if you just want something to move around quite flexibly. So for those who have seen the previous video, what I also recommend is, especially if your collection is growing exponentially, I highly recommend sorting them. And what I did was I got these plastic dividers from Amazon and sorted by genre. And this has helped me to just find records more easily and keep them in order. So I've got them sorted by genre here, and then within the genre, I have them sorted alphabetically by artist. And so whatever mood I'm in, I can pick up a record within seconds. So as long as you have your own system, I highly recommend getting some sort of divider to kind of ease that process of storing your records as well. So 99% of the time I'm playing records, but I actually grew up collecting CDs, and so this is my CD collection as of today. I think I have about 80 or so. At the back is my childhood or teenage collection, which is primarily hip hop and R&B. And nowadays, if I can't find music that I like from the 90s or early 2000s, it's very likely I'll find it on CD. And so I've just gone to my local flea markets and picked up some CDs for 1 or 2 euros. And so I got a little bit of R&B, some pop rock, some punk rock as well. And so this is what I tend to find here in Germany if I can't find it on vinyl. And in order to play these CDs, I got this Panasonic CD player the same day. So the reason why I got into CDs again is because I saw Reasonable Doubt on CD, one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time. And I couldn't play it. And so I went to my local charity shop and they were selling this Panasonic CD player and speaker system for 15 euros. And I said, yeah, take my money. And yeah, so it plays well. There's a bit of a hiccup when you open and close, but other than that, it plays perfectly. And when I'm in the mood to play something that I don't have on vinyl, I go for the CD version. Now, one of the biggest changes since 2024 was the shelves that I used to hold up the records. And so these are the Ikea Mosslanda shelves. And what I love about these ones is I believe they were designed for books, because when you see the pictures on the site, you see a lot of books. But what's great is that they have these little grooves that fit the records so perfectly. And just in one section, you can hold, I don't know, 5 or 6 records. I wouldn't recommend filling up the whole shelf to avoid it falling down, but I find them quite sturdy. I try to place around 8 to 10 records at one time, just so that it doesn't look super crowded. And more recently, I've been trying to switch up the records I display on the shelf, just to spice it up once in a while and to give the living room a bit more character and a bit more nuance. So this time around, I went with a black and white theme. For Christmas, I had my Christmas records. And a few weeks ago, I also even had my jazz records set up for Jazzuary. And so that's what I love about record collecting, not only the sound, but also the visual aspect of the album covers. So this is just a quick peek of what I have. I have some R&B, some Frank Ocean, bootleg of course, Roberta Flack, a little bit of soul. I've got here a Frank Sinatra compilation for some vocal jazz. I did get the Taylor Swift record. To be honest, I got it mostly for the cover and I wanted to give her a chance, but not the biggest fan of the record itself. Got the Beatles' White Album. I've got Johnny Cash's American 4, one of my favorite albums of his, as well as Alta Vista by Childish Gambino. So yeah, I think it complements our Japandi style here in this living room. And so yeah, depending on my mood, depending on the season, I like to just switch it up here and there visually. Moving on to the turntable, what I've got here is the Audio-Technica LP40WN. Don't ask me why they've named it that way. Audio-Technica, if you're watching this, please come up with better names. So this was gifted to me by my girlfriend a few years back, and this is what essentially triggered this whole hobby, and she chose really well. While this isn't the cheapest Audio-Technica model out there, Audio-Technica actually started out in Japan, and they were known for their stylus needles. And so you can always count on them having great quality sound. What's nice about this one is that it has a nice sturdy wood finish, which complements our shelving setup quite nicely in my opinion. It looks a little bit retro with a bit of a modern spin on it. It's got the standard 33 and 45 RPM button. The setup was actually quite easy, and so in a few minutes I was able to kind of put it all together. The rotation is quite sturdy. The needle is fantastic. It's a solid beginner model. It's not the cheapest, but it's not something that's gonna set you back, over 1,000 euros, as some models might be. And on top of that, it's got this dust protector. So as you're playing, you can reduce the amount of dust on the record. Our flat is quite dusty, so I do have to use one of these dust removers every single time. And on top of that, I also got this cork cover on Amazon, just because what I've learned is that this helps to also reduce the static. I went with a felt one before, it was gifted to me, but I found that it collected a lot of dust, and so the cork one I learned was the best to kind of reduce the amount of static when you're spinning the record. So if you have any 7-inch records or some warp records, I highly recommend getting a weight or this 7-inch adapter. So you can just add it on top to add a bit more pressure, as well as be able to fit the 7-inch records when you are playing them. Now, no record player is complete without the speakers, and so we also got the Edifier Bluetooth speakers. I believe you can get this on Amazon for about 120, 130 euros. What's great is that, first of all, easy to set up. Second of all, quite affordable. And third of all, it offers both analog and Bluetooth audio connections. And so when I, for whatever reason, want to use the Bluetooth speaker, I can do so quite easily. Maybe I'm watching a movie and the sound is really, really nice on this one. It also comes with this remote that you can control from a distance, so you don't have to go and adjust the settings at the speaker. So great addition as well. I wouldn't consider myself an audiophile, and so if you are an audiophile, this is maybe not something you would want, just because it's not as crisp as maybe some high-end speakers out there. But if you are a beginner record collector, I think this is a great start. This one has a black finish, but some of them do have some wood finishes as well, and I believe a white model. And so if you're looking for some solid speakers to connect with your record player, I can highly recommend Edifier. Another addition was this new lamp that I picked up at a local photographer's place who was just getting rid of stuff. It's a designer lamp from the brand Artemide, if I pronounced that correctly, but unfortunately we weren't able to fix the light bulb. I did buy it knowing that the light bulb was broken, and so until now I haven't been able to turn it on properly. But I think it looks nice. The original price was pretty expensive, so I thought the €50 price tag was quite fair. So in addition to your shelf and your turntable, I highly recommend getting a lamp, especially when it gets dark in the living room and you just want to have some mood lighting but want to keep the record or the record player as the centerpiece of the living room or your space. And when it's off, I think it just looks like a great furniture piece. So highly recommend getting any sort of table lamp to complement your turntable setup. So that wraps up my updated version of my record setup in 2026. I hope you learned a few things. I will link as much as I can in the description below. But if you want to stay up to date on all things vinyl, coffee, as I'm into coffee as well, feel free to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I also started a blog relatively recently, so feel free to check that out as well. If you have any tips for how I can improve my setup, write them in the comments down below. I'm always willing to learn and also provide inspiration for those who are just starting out. So with that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.